everyone, my name is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my March TBR with you. I am so excited that it is finally March. January felt super long. February really flew by, but now it's March, and that means that we're over the worst of winter and spring is on its way, and that just makes me so happy. Soon enough we'll be out reading on my back deck and enjoying my nice lounge chair in the sun, and I can't wait. So in the month of March, I plan to read about 8 books. I do also have a couple that I would love to read if I have the time, and they're also good to have a few backup picks in case I get into one and I'm just not liking it all. Then I have a couple, ones ready to go. The first book that I do hope to read this month is actually a book that comes out on March the 17th, and I have a digital copy for it, and that is Darling Rose Gold by Stephanie Wrobel. Now, this book is one of my most anticipated reads for the spring. It sounds really good. It's a thriller. It has to do with a mother and a daughter, and the mother is just getting out of prison and returning to life. She's going to move back in with her daughter, but the mother actually went to prison for having the daughter believe that she was chronically ill from basically birth to the age of 18. The book just sounds really good. I really enjoy books about mothers and daughters, and I have no idea what's going to happen next. I have started this book right now at the time of filming this, and basically that's the start of the book, and I just have no idea what twists and turns are going to come. So I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be really good. The second book that I do hope to read is also a book that comes out actually in April, and that is The Subtweet by Vivek Shraya. So this is an advanced reader's copy that I got. Thank you to ECW Press for sending it to me. So this book is about 2 women, both musicians, and when one musician covers the other musician's song, these 2 musicians connect and they form a friendship, but somehow the friendship goes sour. There's some sort of controversial tweet involved. So this book covers definitely some social media aspects, and I just feel like it's going to be very relevant. It's supposed to be not so much about falling in love, but about falling in friendship, and how we as women can sometimes form really quick bonds, and then things can almost maybe turn explosive sometimes in female friendships. So I'm looking forward to this book. Basically, it says, with a single tweet, their friendship implodes, one career is destroyed, and the 2 women find themselves at the center of an internet firestorm. So it actually sounds really relevant to today's day and age, and I'm looking forward to checking that out. The next book that I do hope to read this month is actually for the Backlist Readathon. So the Backlist Readathon is a new readathon that is being put on by 5 or 6 booktubers, and a couple of those booktubers are actually my favorites and part of the reason and the inspiration for my own booktube channel, and that would be Gabby from Gabby Reads and Jackie from Weeby Bookin', and they're part of running this readathon. And the readathon runs from March 9th to 15th, and during that time you're challenged to read as many backlist titles as you can. So basically any book that was published prior to 2020, so from 2019 and further back. So I've chosen 2 books to try to read during this week. That's about the average that I read. Maybe 1 to 2 books a week is kind of the max for me. So there are a couple books that I do hope to read during that week specifically. And the first one is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. Now, this book has actually been on my radar for the past few months. I had a really good friend read it and really loved it, and I know that there has been some other people who have read it in the past few months, including Jacqueline from Weeby Bookin', and I'm just really looking forward to diving in. It's a bit controversial. Basically, a beautiful and provocative love story between 2 unlikely people. So I think it's a bit taboo and controversial because it deals with a very significant age gap. And so some people, of course, are, not so sure about that. But I think that this relationship is very genuine. At least that's what I've heard from the people that have read it. And therefore, I'm just looking forward to reading it and discovering that for myself. It says, all the ugly and wonderful things challenges all we know and believe about the human heart. So I think it just sounds like a really, really good story, and maybe about a friendship that is somewhat unlikely, somewhat controversial. And so I'm looking forward to diving into that. That's All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. And I hope to read this for the Backlist Readathon. The next book that I also hope to read during the Backlist Readathon, but I'm also reading it because it's a book for one of my in real life book clubs. We are looking at the author Lisa Genova during the month of March, and I do own all of her books because I really like them, but there's actually still a couple that I haven't read. So I'm going to read Love, Anthony by Lisa Genova. This also happens to be a good friend of mine on Bookstagram. Her name is Kelly, and from Miss Kelly's Bookish Corner. This is one of her favorite books, so she's been wanting me to read it, and so I'm finally going to read it, and this is the one that I'm choosing to read for the Backlist Readathon and also for my book club. I honestly don't even really remember what Love, Anthony deals with, but I'm going to read it anyway. So, Olivia Donatelli's dream of a normal life shattered when her son Anthony was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. So, I guess it deals with autism, it deals with a family. I don't even really need to know more than that. It's Lisa Genova. I'm sure I'm going to love it, and I'm looking forward to reading it. The next book that I'm going to read is actually the book that I chose for my tween book club. So I run a book club for ages 10, 11, 12 to 13 year olds at the library that I work at. And I chose Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief to read for their March meeting. And I actually chose the graphic novel because I'm interested in the graphic novel, and selfishly, I'm also not a huge fantasy reader. So I thought I might actually enjoy it more if there was some illustrations. I was deciding between this version of the story and also the illustrated version by Rick Riordan, and I just opted for the graphic novel because it's also a chance for us to do a graphic novel as part of our book club, which we haven't done yet. And the kids sounded really, really excited about it, and so I'm looking forward to reading this, kind of seeing what the story is all about, and hopefully I'll enjoy it. Now, the next book that I plan to read in the month of March is one that I am so excited for. It came out last month, and that is Wild at Heart by K.A. Tucker. Back in December, I read The Simple Wild for the first time, and I loved it. It was so good. I can't believe that I waited that long to check it out, and this is the sequel. It continues the story of Kala and Jonah and Alaska, and I don't really know much more than that, and I don't really care to know much more than that going in, but I am so looking forward to it, and I know a few people who read it, and it's getting really good reviews so far, so I'm really excited, and yeah, it just sounds so good. I just, I can't wait to read it. And I mean, this cover, I just love the mountains and her outfit and her hat, and honestly, like, it's so good. It's a romance, and it's going to be great, and that's all that really matters. Now, the last 2 books that I have planned to read for my March TBR are both nonfiction books, and the first one actually is This Is Your Brain on Birth Control. And it's about the surprising science of women, hormones, and the law of unintended consequences. Now, I don't know if I will talk too much about reading this on my channel, but I thought I'd mention it in my TBR because, you know, transparently, it is a book that I'm looking forward to reading. I've been on the birth control pill for a bit of time, and I do notice that it influences my hormones, and so I'm just kind of really more curious about the science behind it, what it actually does to my body, what maybe being on it for a prolonged length of time, what effect that might have. It just sounds really interesting, and this book was really highly recommended. It had a lot of good reviews. People are claiming it to be like a book that every woman should read, whether they're on birth control or thinking about taking birth control, and therefore I thought, hey, why not? It just sounds really interesting, so I do plan on reading that. And the other nonfiction that I do plan to read is called Daughter of Family G by Amy McKay. And Amy McKay has written a couple of fiction books, none of which, unfortunately, I have read. But they are on my TBR, and one day I will read them. But this is actually about her life, and it's about her own genealogy. So it says, weaving together family history, genetic discovery, and scenes from her life, Amy McKay tells the compelling true story of her own family's unsettling legacy of hereditary cancer. How do you live when you carry the mutation that not only killed many people you love, but might also kill you? I'm really, really interested in this book for a couple of reasons. One, I really enjoy nonfiction. I really enjoy books about families, and therefore ticks both those boxes. I also, I've had a lot of family members, both immediate and distant family members, who have passed away because of cancer, and therefore it's a sickness and an illness that's dear to my heart, that has impacted a lot of lives, that I know it has impacted my own life. And so I'm just really, really curious to hear other people's stories, especially when they deal with cancer. It sounds like Amy McKay has been tested for this family gene, which I guess is a mutation and maybe causes cancer to be genetic. That is something that I don't know a lot about. I know that it can kind of run in families, but I had no idea that it was really genetic. So I'm just really looking forward to reading this book and just maybe learning a bit about this gene, a little bit about cancer, and maybe hearing other people's stories will be really interesting. So those are the books that I have planned to read that I definitely would like to get to in the month of March. If there are any of these books that are interesting to you, please let me know in the comments down below. Or if you've read any of them and you like them or didn't like them, again, I love to chat with you about any of these books. And if you are liking my channel and liking my content, then, you can hit that subscribe button, because that really does help to support me. That's all for my March TBR. I hope that March is a really, really good reading month for me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.